Hello, 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 hello. We are live for today's episode of the Xander Gibb Show. We are just in pre-production mode, getting it all together for you. And we are live in all the places that it matters. I am uncomfortable because it is hot. But we will get there. We will be cool. We will be the coolest. Oh, yes, sirree. Don't forget our drinking game. That it matters. I am uncomfortable because it is. Yeah, we heard you, Xander. Let's share the stream. So we can get started. So we can get this party started. So that's that. Just have to go to YouTube to get the YouTube link because I know that some of you like to watch it on YouTube, which is your prerogative. Who else is hot out there? It's like, it's only like 65 degrees here, but that's quite hot for the UK. And it's quite uncomfortable. I guess there'll be a lot of naked sleepers around tonight. Computers are slow. I wonder if they're slow because of the heat. Would not surprise me. So copy the video URL. Let's make sure we've got that. Don't you hate it when computers are slow? They are slow, slow, slow. There we go. That's that sorted. Just gotta share. Hi, chat. Hi to everybody else who is watching and in the live feed. Hi to Carla. Hi to everybody that's in the live feed, but everyone who's watching even but isn't in the live feed. We're just in share mode. Please share the show, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm playing that it's going to do it in one. Typical. Have to do every single one separately. So screw you, Mark Zuckerberg, and your mail order bride. We will be getting started very soon, just as soon as I've shared to every single group out there, which is kind of frustrating. Because we're seeing that a lot of people who are watching the show are not sharing the show, because we can see who has shared the show. So why aren't you sharing the show? Is it something that I'm saying? Is it something that I'm doing? What would persuade you to share the show? I mean, we're going to do a prize draw once a month. Everyone who has shared the show will be entered into that prize draw. And if you ain't in it, you can't win it. I did mention that the prize is a week in Malawi with Bill Clinton. No, it's not. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Maybe Hillary. You know, she deserves it. So click that share button out there and share to your groups. I'm lost as to where I am again. It's hard to talk and share. We will be getting started very soon on the Xander Gibb Show. We had technical problems tonight. And so keep your fingers crossed. But I'm sure we will be fine. And it feels like deja vu. It hasn't really been 24 hours since we were all together last. It really seems like a lot less. Is it hot where you are? As I said, it's 65 degrees here, but it is very hot. I don't know where the hell I am with these shares. But if we don't share the show, we don't get the views. And people say, where is it? I can't see it. And if I can't see it, I can't watch it, and I can't share it. Didn't know the Kardashians watched the show, did you? We, as I said, are in pre-production mode. We will be starting in just a mere moment. But while we are waiting to start, please click that share button. Take this opportunity, do a guy a favor, and share the show to not just to your page, but to any groups you are in. And anyone that doesn't share the show, can't even talk tonight. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Anyone who doesn't share the show will be coming off my Christmas card / 2021 calendar list. Yes, you will. Don't forget about our drinking game, because apparently I say quite often the phrase, "Oh yes, siree." So every time I say, "Oh yes, siree," you can feel free to take a little nip of whatever it is that you want, whether that be water, wine, or if you're feeling so inclined, you can turn the water into wine. You can take a sip of whiskey, take a sip of brandy, or you can just take a sip of Coca-Cola. But I am drinking nothing, because if I start drinking during the show, like most of us of a certain age, I'm going to want to go pee, and I can't go pee during the show. It just does not work. So who's clicking that share button? Press those buttons now. I feel like a game show host, but there's never one available when you need one. Where are we? We are getting there with the shares. It's so tedious. I prefer it when I can just go down the list and click share from one list. It makes it so much easier. But alas, Facebook do not want to do anything to assist. And now, oh, come on. And now it's giving me attitude as to where I can share to. So we just got a couple more shares to make, and we will be getting started on tonight's episode of tonight's excruciatingly, can't even say the word, excruciatingly warm episode of the Xander Gibb Show. Oh yes, siree. This is the worst part of it for me. I need to hire someone who's going to share to all of the groups for me. In fact, we'll be taking applications. Whoever wants to do that, we will get you set up sharing the groups. Just one or two more. And we will be getting started for tonight's episode of the Xander Gibb Show. Tell us the temperatures out there. Whereabouts are you in the world? And tell us how hot it is. We are nearly there. I can't cope with the heat. I'm not used to... Oh, stop. Facebook is just so not helpful. Where are we? Where did we get up to? Freedom on Deck fan group. If you're not in the Freedom on Deck fan group, go and join them now. Our friends Chet and CV will be there to welcome you. We are nearly there. No one's speaking to me in the live. Are you there? Is the has the feed died? There we go. Do I want you to share with your two friends? Yes, I do. Hello to Keith. Hello to everyone in the live feed. We will come and say hello to everybody individually just as soon as I finish sharing. Don't know what was happening. Oh, 36 comments I missed. I don't know what was going on. I thought I was all alone there for a second. Where did we get to? Conservative United. I think that is it. Yes, siree, we are there with the shares. But don't let that stop you from sharing the show yourself. We are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Well, hello and welcome to Thursday's episode of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on Xandermonium Network, live from an undisclosed location. I know it's not my mother's basement, it's your mother's basement. Oh, yes, sirree, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week. I'm Xander Gibb, and on tonight's show, I get on my soapbox a little and give you the opportunity to get on yours too. And our phone in, political commentator Mark Sutherland drops by to break down some of today's hottest topics. And in part 2, CV Burton from Freedom on Deck joins us. Now you can have your say in the live feed as usual. I'll be sharing your comments as we go along. You'll be able to call us on the phone and more information about that any second. And you can follow me on social media, and you can also follow me at xandergibb.com. Let's come to the live feed and see who's there, who's not, and why. Hello once again to Chet. Hello to Nick. Hello to Carla. Hello to Mel. Welcome to the show, Mel. Hello to my Gina. Hello to Keith. Hello to my eyes. Hello to who else? Let's see who else is new. Hello to CV. Welcome to the show. He's our guest in part 2. Hello to Dan. Welcome back to the show from Connecticut. Who else is there? I think that is about everybody that's actually in the live feed. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. Who else is there? Chet says if I could share with the groups that you're in, I might help a bit. Let's talk about that. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Maybe I will have to give you my sign-in information. See how much I trust Chet. Well, it is Thursday. It's another wacky day in the United States of America and in the UK. I was just called a racist for commenting on the fact that the Labour Party, which is the equivalent to the Democrats here in the UK, ignored Pakistani pedophile rape gangs. See, I get rape and racism and rapism mixed up. You know, when I think about Joe Biden, I have that same problem. Is Hillary dead? I don't know. We can only wish. Did I really just say that? So yeah, apparently I'm an Islamophobe because I don't want gangs of Muslims running around the UK raping little girls. So go figure. Check out my Instagram for that, because I really gave someone a good pounding over that today. Who is Jenny Laurie? Don't know who that is. Yes, we can dare to dream. Rapism, yes. It's like raping a racist, that's rapism. Now, we have got time to open up those phone lines. You can call us on 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States of America. That's 845-363-4747. If you are in the United States, and if you are in the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. Call us now. We've probably got time for about one call before we get inundated with guests. Nick says that is her friend, and she should try getting her on the live. Oh, absolutely. Everybody is welcome, except Democrats and idiots, which is the same thing, I guess. So give us a call, 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you're in the United Kingdom, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. I'm still reeling over the news that AOC won in her district. I wonder how she fiddled and finagled that. And I wonder if they used mailing voting to actually get her. I demand a recount, because how can an idiot like that win again? Chet says maybe we should start asking mosques to be taken down over being offended. Yes, absolutely, I agree. Well, you know, there's no kind of secret about the fact that the Prophet Muhammad is a pedophile. So I am offended by pedophilia. So why shouldn't we? Don't know if that's connecting or not. Why shouldn't we be upset about that? Here we go. Welcome to the show. You are live on the Xander Gibb Show. What's your name and where are you calling from? As if we did not know. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. How are you, sir? And how offended are you about these pedophiles roaming around raping little girls and claiming that it's their right to do so because they're Muslims?
Yeah, well, it's not a far cry from what they learn in that book. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad was married to a 9-year-old little girl. So
yeah,
the truth is the most radical of Muslims are the ones that are following the Quran front to back. That's what it is, whether you like saying it or not. The Christian Bible has been revised, the Torah has been revised, and the Quran has never been revised.
Right.
So figure that one out.
But you can't. You say revised. Do you mean more like modernized? Because for me, the Bible is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But with
yes, there were changes made.
Right, absolutely. See, I know quite a lot of Muslims. I have a lot of friends who are Muslims, and they want to go to work. They want to feed their kids. They want to protect their kids. You know, just like the rest of us. But like with everything, it's the fundamentals that make it difficult, because we all tend to tar with the same brush. You know, if it's very easy to generalize. Like right now, it would be easy if you're not an educated person to think that all black people are part of Black Lives Matter, but we know from experience that they're absolutely not.
Right. I mean, of course, I know good Muslims too. I know good Muslims all around New York, and especially in East New York. The problem with good Muslims is, here's the problem. They don't stick up for their community, and they don't chastise the bad ones and fight back against the ones that are trying to commit terrorist acts.
Right.
Because in the Muslim community, they're bullied into submission.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would admit that to you if you ask them. I've asked before, and I've gotten the yes answer, which is disturbing because they feel like the faith doesn't represent them, but they can't really do anything about it.
No, absolutely. And I there is a group in London called Not In My Name, and they started to get a little kind of punchy after several of the radical Islamic terror attacks, saying that they were Muslims and they did not feel that this was appropriate or right, and they spoke out about it. But I haven't heard of them for some time. Surely it takes a continuum of these people speaking out and saying, this is not right, this is not appropriate, and it's not okay to do this. Hi to Swoop, by the way. You would think that there would be a continuum of this, because if Christians started going around doing these same things, as Christians, we would be the first ones to say, yeah, that's not on, brother,
Well, the problem is when you say some groups have stood up against it. We all know who CARE is, right?
We do.
And CARE has condemned terrorist attacks before, but CARE represents the terrorists. So there's a lot of times where there are these Muslim groups that come forward and they sound real nice, and then you find out the people in the group that are saying that they're peaceful are not. And I know one of them. His name is Mr. Chowdhury. He's over in Florida. Me and him had a back and forth years ago. We actually were starting to discuss things in a civilized manner. And then I saw him on with Megyn, I think it was Megyn Kelly at the time on Fox News, and he wouldn't condemn Hamas. So that was it. I didn't talk to him anymore.
There is a line, isn't there?
The matter is, CARE represents the Muslim Brotherhood. CARE is supposed to be the organization for Muslims in America and abroad that teaches it right, but they don't. So how are you supposed to trust any of them?
Well, we've had people from CARE on the show. We've actually had people from CARE Florida on, Hassan Shibli, and I had a very similar experience.
That's who I'm talking about.
I had a great rapport with him, and then all he wanted to do was condemn Donald Trump and say that Donald Trump was an Islamophobe because he didn't want people coming in the country from countries that were known for terrorism. And so to me, that kind of stops the conversation, unfortunately, because, I will always have anyone on the show that's willing to enter into civil discourse. But there's a line, isn't there, Chet? And that if you cannot condemn Hamas and groups like that, then where do we have to go from that?
Yeah, I said Chowdhury. It was Shibli. Shibli was the one that I had open connection with a few years back, and then that's when I saw him, and he wouldn't condemn Hamas. The point is, these guys never get put into the corner. They never get questioned. I'm sure that a lot of them are on a terrorist watch list, but we see how good those work out. Look at the homosexual men over across the pond from me that got stabbed to death because don't tell me it's not because they were gay. And
no, of course it was because they were gay.
That's exactly what happened. And you don't hear a damn thing on the media about it.
And you know what happened the next day? One of the relatives or one of the family, I'm paraphrasing, but somebody related to it paid for a plane to go over a soccer match that said White Lives Matter, and that person was fired from their job for doing that. So I'm tired of this. I'm tired of Black Lives Matter. I'm tired of the assumption that I'm racist because I don't agree with Black Lives Matter. So are people like Swoop, who Swoop is in the live feed now. He's a black guy. He's a regular on the show. He's not in agreement with Black Lives Matter. Does that make him a racist too? Do you know what I mean?
To them, yes.
It's such
to them, he's a racist. First of all, to them, he's going on a racist program when he comes on with you.
Yeah.
Second of all, Swoop doesn't fall in line with all of them, so of course he's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they say these horrible things. From Black Lives Matter talking about like a black genocide on whites.
Yeah.
A lot of really disturbing things that you try to keep up with. Some of it on the internet, I understand, is not real. You have to be careful. But, they have ties also with terrorist groups.
Yeah.
Also with Antifa. And Antifa is just, like the side bitch of Black Lives Matter.
Of course, they're in bed together.
It really is true, though.
I nearly swore then. I was gonna say the F word. They're in bed together, fornicating. Because they both piss in the same pot. But here is the thing. Here is the thing for me. When the leader of Black Lives Matter can go on the TV and say if you don't comply, we're going to burn you down. Then we're going to say, what I actually meant was we're going to burn down the ideologies. Then something needs to be done, as far as I'm concerned, because that is a threat. We have to leave it there because I think that might have been my guest, my first guest calling in.
Okay, Dan, no problem. I'll listen to the rest of the show.
Thanks a lot, brother. It's always great to speak to you. And I think we'll go back to having the phone in the latter part of the show in the future so that we can talk for longer.
Very good. Very
great.
Good, Dan. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. That was Chip Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you go and check him out. My first guest is my auto cue has stopped. My first guest is an international political commentator. He's Mark Sutherland. He's a regular on the show, and he joins us now from the UK. Welcome back to the show, Mark. How is the world with you? Did we lose you? I think we lost Mark. Let's hope he's going to call back in again. Once again, thanks to Chet from Freedom on Deck for calling in. It's always great to talk to you. And Chet is, in fact, my guest tomorrow night. And Chet will be on, I will be on Chet's show this weekend. I will be a guest on Freedom on Deck because they only have the best guests. If you are listening, Mark, please call back in. I don't know what happened there. Here we go. So please join me in welcoming back to the show the fabulous Mark Sutherland. How is the world with you, Mark?
I'm very well, Xander. How are you, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know what the problem is. Skype is not always very reliable, but I am bloody hot. It is really humid here in the UK tonight. And I wish I had like a little pool to go and sit in after the show in order to cool down a bit, but that ain't happening. So, go ahead.
I was just saying, I have total and utter sympathy. It's hot weather-wise, and it's also hot politically, as you fully know, across the world.
Yes, it is. It's the world's gone mad, especially, even here in our own country, even here in the UK, the craziness ensues. And I was just sharing in the preamble that, I was called an Islamophobe today on Instagram for commenting on the Pakistani rape gangs that were running around and raping children. So my issue is not with who they pray to, it's what they do. And that was ignored by the left.
Absolutely, but there are a lot of things that are ignored by the left. But the big thing that we have found out is that every single institution within our own country has literally been invaded by this cultural Marxist groupthink. And if people actually don't think that, then they need to look around at what's going on.
Of course.
Because if you have conservative views, then you are seen as a complete and utter non-entity.
Yeah.
But there is a pushback going on.
There is, thankfully. And I think that when we get to an election year, hi Maria, welcome to the live feed. When we get to an election year in the United States, it gets worse. And, I'm surprised, knock wood, but, in an election year, I seem to get banned every other week, which is why you have to have more than one account. And it's sickening, just from the perspective of, if you're threatening to kill people and things like that, you deserve to be kicked off social media, but not just for sharing your opinion.
Well, I completely agree. And the other thing is that the left don't seem to like facts. Censorship doesn't like facts, but this has been a long, long time coming because they have swallowed the Marxist ideals and want a complete new world order utopian groupthink.
They do.
But they want a humanistic, atheistic construct. They want to completely and utterly annihilate the Western world.
Yeah.
And they want to annihilate anyone that also has a biblical Christian viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
And even statues of Jesus now, which is a great segue to our first topic. Not that I'm suggesting our first subject is like Jesus in any way, shape, or form. Before people write in and say that he is my God, because they do bullshit like that. So President Trump plans to kick off Independence Day with a display at Mount Rushmore, and they're already drawing criticism from Native Americans who view the monument as a desecration of land violently stolen from them. Now, activists are planning protests for Trump's July 3rd visit as part of Trump's comeback campaign for a nation reeling from sickness, unemployment, recently social unrest. Now, the auto cue has just stopped. Let me just start it again. Isn't always they don't have this trouble at the BBC. So the event is slated to include fighter jets thundering over a 79-year-old stone monument in South Dakota's Black Hills, and the first fireworks to play since 2009. Now it comes amid protests over racism and Marxist responses to monuments around the globe. Some Native American activists say Rushmore Memorial is as reprehensible as the many Confederate monuments being toppled around the nation. Mount Rushmore is a symbol of white supremacy, of structural racism that is still alive and well in society, said Nick Tilson, a member of the Oglala tribe. The president local activists organized called NDN Collective. It's an injustice. It's actively stealing indigenous people's lands, and then they carve white faces of conquerors who are committed to genocide. Now, I ask you, Mark, isn't this just more bullshit?
Yes, and let's just say controversially, yes. The important thing is here is that we recognise history. We recognise the things that have gone on in the past,
right?
And at times, certain historical events and what's gone on have not been good at all in the way that people have been treated. We also remember Custer's last stand, where Custer also got his arse whipped.
Yeah.
And a dear friend of mine runs a museum in regard to that subject. So let's all just remember this. But the key thing is this. Is the statues, our history is there for a reason, for all of us to learn from it. But this is total and utter, the classic Marxist playbook.
Right.
You completely wipe out history. And also, when we define Marxism, fascism and communism are exactly the same. And then what happens is that we burn down the Reichstag, we burn books, we get rid of this, we get rid of that, we round up all the intelligentsia, and we murder them because of free thinking. The important thing is that we turn around and go, that was our history. We're not very proud of certain aspects of that, but we are going to move on and we are going to learn from that. And that's why it's really important that that statue, those histories are there, because if you do not learn from history, you are then destined to repeat the same mistakes.
Absolutely. That's interesting, because I was having a conversation with someone today with regards to the slavery aspect of it all. Now, back in the day, they saw nothing wrong with owning another human being, regardless of the color of their skin, because white people were slaves too. And that is obviously absolutely abhorrent. But we can't erase that from history. We cannot just take it and slide it across, because it won't take it away. It won't make it like it hasn't happened. And I think it's really wrong to attempt to do so, not just from the perspective of what you've said, but we need to ensure that these things never happen again. I mean, people would say that the genocide should never have happened, and it shouldn't. And there are still reminders of that. There's the genocide of the Jews. There are museums to this. Should we close all of those museums and let people forget about what happened, to my ancestors and many others? Should we close all of those things out? Should we get rid of the pyramids because they were built by slaves? I just wonder where we actually draw the line.
Well, then we draw the line, which is that we need to go back to a reset and just accept certain aspects of history, and that is how it is. We then need to understand history, particularly if we look at America, of understanding why the Republican Party was started around about 1835, because the Republicans wanted to include Black Americans into the political system.
Absolutely.
In other words, it's understanding history. We have to understand that the Democrats created the KKK and all that. We have to understand that the National Rifle Association was created to then defend Black Americans, but against the Ku Klux Klan. We can see all the bait and switch that's gone on. We also have to understand, in regard to British history, that the British Navy, etc., will support to get rid of slavery in the British Navy, and use to reinforce that. In other words, we have to learn from all of that. We have to learn about the Civil War in America and what the history of that was all about. And it wasn't just necessarily about slavery. It was also about having a manufacturing base in the North and the South then going, we wish to succeed because we are unhappy. We also don't have the kind of manufacturing capability that the North had. We are supplying cotton to the North. They make clothes, sell it back to us. We're not happy about how much that costs. In other words, the point I'm making, not to be clever, is that we have to understand history, and we have to understand facts, and we have to put emotions aside, and also to understand that there is a deep, massive things going on over here and across the world. It's a bit like turning around and saying, "Oh, President Trump is a racist." Well, hold on a minute. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton didn't object when he won the Rosa Parks Award in 1997, and did not object to the fact that he would be financing things that they were up to, and also the amount of black Americans that, and I don't like the hyphenated, everyone's an American over there, that he would employ. Again, the point is looking at facts, Xander, and people have a problem with that.
They do. And they want to actually compartmentalize them in such a way so that they feel comfortable, which is a huge concern to me, because facts are not meant to be comfortable. Facts are meant to be uncomfortable, because, if they're uncomfortable facts, they're uncomfortable facts. But I think ultimately there is a school of thought right now that wants to take it all away. I mean, take away all the statues, take away all of the things that are that you feel are reminders of slave owners, et cetera, et cetera. What does that actually change for those people that were actually slaves back in the day?
Well, absolutely. And then when we're going to see to rugby matches, swing low, sweet chariot bands, and all this kind of thing, these are part of culture. And I have grown up with that. I mean, in some ways, I'm quite shocked where we're having to even discuss certain things. But then again, when we see the Marxist communist playbook, socialism leads to communism, this is classic of divide and rule. The fact that we are seeing, let's say it, we are seeing groups like Black Lives Matter who are Marxist, who are anti-capitalist, and who want to bring capitalism down. Now that segues maybe into another subject that you might want to talk about. But this is what is going on. We have to understand this. We have to understand that Black Lives Matter as an organization, the whole of the money that you give to that ends up going to the Democratic Party. And then it's divided. In other words, the point I'm making is not to make a political point as a conservative. It's the fact that we have to do our research and look into what is going on, and this is a global group thing. And what will happen is that you and I will be taken off to some, FEMA camp or whatever type, and then they go, we're going to reprogram them. We need to remember people like Solzhenitsyn and the warning that they gave to Congress in 1972 about communism and what would happen when that poor man spent a number of years in a gulag. This is true. We had the awful historical debate in 1929 in our own parliament over this, where we were taking timber from France, and we then from Russia, and we had to face up to the fact that this was being harvested in the gulag, and it took our own parliament long enough to actually have that debate.
But
people want communism.
That doesn't surprise me.
Suppression.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. Even what I was saying at the beginning of the segment with you about the Pakistani rape gangs, it took them long enough to do anything about it, and they even threw Tommy Robinson to the wolves because he identified it. So nothing surprises me about the British government.
No, absolutely. But what we've got to understand is that the only department that various people could not drive a coach and horses through was the education department in the country. Margaret Thatcher could not drive, could not change that department. And the education department is what has gone wrong in this country. Through our schools, through our colleges, through our universities, we see this left-wing group funk of progressivism, liberalism, and that is what has gone on, where people are not given two sides of an argument. They're given feelings and say, this is how you are going to think.
Absolutely, and if you don't fall into that ilk, we're going to paint you as bad or wrong or as a hater or one of those things. Now, I just want to get your opinion. We don't have a lot of time left, but as you know, Keir Starmer, who is the leader of the Labour Party, which is, for the American listeners, is kind of the equivalent of the Democrats in the UK. He fired Rebecca Long Bailey today because she shared an article containing an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, and basically, I want to know what you think about that. Do you think he kind of threw her under the bus and used her as an example? Because I know what the actress was saying was BS, but don't you think he just threw her under the bus for that?
Well, I think, I think you're referring to Maxine Peake's comment.
Yes.
The point is this: is that the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, it does have a problem. It has had a problem with anti-Semitism. It's as simple as that. As much as various people have said no, and various reports have come out saying, "Oh no, we've looked into this," by Miss Chakrabarti being one. No, there is a huge problem there, massive problem. Throwing Long Bailey under the bus, well, maybe he has. But the issue is that some of the comments that she's come out with in the past, especially when she was going to the leadership, I mean, my eyes roll, really. My eyes roll, because it seems to want to...
Don't get me wrong.
Progressive comment going.
Don't get me wrong, Mark. I believe there's a huge problem with anti-Semitism and many other things on the left. But why choose this as a reason to make a stand when there were far greater examples of it, where they'd even, Labour MPs even calling people kikes. But the Honourable Keir Starmer, who they've just made the boss of the Labour Party, the leader of the Labour Party, was involved in covering up the pedophile, the Pakistani pedophile ring, So nothing has changed with the Labour Party as far as I'm concerned. It's actually just swapped one asshole for another.
Well, I think what you're saying is a very fair point. The key issue is this: is that in many ways the integrity, the depth of we look at depth of people. I think of people like John Smith in the past, who died, and then Tony Blair came in to be head of the Labour Party. Someone like John Smith, you may have disagreed with his politics, but in regard to the man and in regard to morally and what he stood up for, at least you felt that there was a statesman there and someone that you respected.
Absolutely.
I do not see any, within Parliament. That's always our challenge at the moment: is where are the statesmen? And it seems as though that politically they all sound exactly the same, and all they are is looking for the short vote and the quick PR, 30-second comment. I mean, that is what's going on. There is no plan at all. And the fact is that I agree with you. I am deeply concerned about the depth and the type of thinking that people come out with, and then suddenly, yes, you're right, the sort of cover-up that's been going on, the particular report that you're talking about, as Priti Patel has been petitioned, we need that.
Yes.
We need to hear that, and people need to face up to the reality, because people have been talking about this. But the problem is, you've got a massive left bias.
You do. Let me ask you one quick final question. Why are MPs talking to actresses like Maxine Peake about policy? That's my final question to you. Very succinct answer.
Very good point. Maxine Peake, was she quoted as saying, "We need to bring down capitalism"? Do I have to say any more?
No.
If you are then talking to someone like that, where it's a very privileged job that she has, I'm sure she's worked hard to get for.
Yeah.
Whereas an actress gets picked up in a nice car early in the morning, and then pampered, go and do a job, and then taken back, and then get very well paid
Absolutely.
for it, and then wants to bring down capitalism.
Great.
I really can't work that one out.
Great actress, terrible political commentator. We do have to leave it there, I'm afraid, Mark. We never seem to have enough time together. Tell people very quickly where they can find you find out more about what you're doing. And of course, Mark will be back with us very soon.
That's very, very kind of you. You can find me at marksutherland.org, and of course, you can find me on the Sutherland Report on Twitter, Periscope, and I am on Fascist Book as well when they allow me to speak.
Love it.
I'm presently banned.
You're presently banned. Wow, I didn't realize that. They're getting a bit too big for their boots. We got to leave it there, Mark. Thank you so much. Make sure you check Mark out. All of his contact information is on the Xander Gibb Show page on Fascist Book for this week. Thank you so much, my good friend Mark Sutherland. Thanks a lot, Mark. Take care, brother.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Xander. Speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot. That was Mark Sutherland. Make sure you check him out. Hi, Dave. Welcome to the live feed, and welcome to everyone who's joined while we were chatting. My next guest, who should be calling in any minute, is C.V. Burton. C.V. Boyton. No, C.V. Burton. My Midtown accent was kicking in then. C.V. Boyton will be calling us from New York City, and he is one of the commentators on Freedom on Deck, who should be calling us any minute from the United States of America. Let's stop the auto cue before it goes too far and go to the live feed. Nick says he's my kin. I don't know who that is. Carlos says, hi, Dave. Dave says, hi, Gina. This should be my next guest, Mr. C.V. Burton. Welcome back to the show, sir. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
It's always a pleasure. I'm too damn hot. I need air conditioning, but they don't have it here in the UK, which is fascism as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man.
But I will survive. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. I'll leave that to you. So I want to jump.
No.
I want to jump right in. They were saying last night in the live feed about that you were singing the week before you were singing the theme tune to the show, which everyone seems to be singing, but I'm not complaining about it.
Right. That Lyle Lovett has been good to you this time around.
Lyle Lovett, no, it's Lamingtons. The Lamingtons has been good to me this time around. We'll have to just keep changing it every week. All right, let's jump right into the first topic, because we always are very time-bound. When I read this, I thought the Supremes, is that like, the singing group, but they were talking about the Supreme Court handed the Trump administration a win today by ruling that asylum seekers have no right to a federal court hearing before being removed from the U.S. The 7-2 decision allows the administration to fast-track the removal process and could affect thousands of immigrants. At issue was whether a federal immigration law that aimed to reduce the meritless asylum claims through expedited proceedings violated immigrants' due process rights under the Constitution. I wasn't sure that non-citizens had due process rights, but we will talk a little bit more about that. Now, a majority of justices ruled that Congress had the power to authorize executive agencies to remove asylum seekers without providing for a hearing in federal court. While aliens who have established connections in this country due to process rights in deportation proceedings, the court long ago held that Congress is entitled to set the conditions for aliens' lawful entry into this country, and as a result, an alien at the threshold of initial entry cannot claim any greater rights under the Due Process Clause. Now, I want to kind of first of all pick up on my first point. I didn't think that illegal aliens had any rights to due process under the Constitution, because I thought the Constitution covered American citizens only.
I agree with you there. My other point that I was thinking about was that Justice Roberts' handlers allowed him to vote with the conservatives this time, and I think it's probably because it was starting to look suspicious, that he was always voting against conservative causes. I guess this one wasn't a big enough wasn't important enough to look suspicious and continue that pattern.
Well, maybe they didn't have enough money for a bribe this time, allegedly, because you can't tell me that last time that he actually did that based upon what he felt or based upon what the law dictates. I mean, I'm not a legal scholar, but that to me, the last ruling that they made was bullshit, basically.
Yeah. No, they knew that he was weak, so they had I think they had a couple of things against him. They had a bribe, then they had a death threat, and then they had, hey, if you don't vote the way we want you to vote, we're going to release those log records on the Lolita Express.
Yes.
Where you were flying out to Lucifer Isle to participate in the Satanic Temple over there.
Yeah, him and his pal Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
So,
Bill, are you booked on the Lolita Express this weekend? Yes, John. Let's make sure we pack our Speedos.
Yeah, so I'm sure that Roberts checked with Barack O'Jarrett to see if it was okay if he voted conservatively this time.
Yeah, did you know Barack O'Jarrett, she says, I ran the United States for the last 8 years. I saw that on a meme the other day. I thought that was pretty funny. Why do you think at this time, CV, that they're trying to afford more and more rights to illegals? You know, they can vote now. Some of them were even getting stimulus checks. If you've not paid into the country and you're not there illegally, why should you get anything back from it at all?
Well, you know, as you said, part of it is because they see it as a voting block. Even if they can't register legally, they can still bust them in and vote under other people's names who have been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, they can do it that way. But also, it's a poke in the eye to patriots. And it's also, you know, anything that's bad for America is good for socialists because we're, you know, a capitalistic free market nation, and they want to transform us into, you know, a socialist nation where we're all dependent on their good graces and that our rights come from them and not from God.
Right. But we know that that's not the case.
There's a lot of reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry.
I said we know that that's not the case, but you know the thing that's most concerning about all of this for me is from the perspective of they did this last time. That they proved that so many people that were actually dead had registered to vote. You know, why isn't nobody checking this stuff? Why is nobody? You know, I think that it would be worth the United States of America on November 3rd investing a lot of money and actually having independent returning officers in every voting station to actually make sure that you see, this is the other thing about voter ID. If you have voter ID and you've got legal ID, why do we need to worry so much about voter fraud? I'm sure it would cancel it out like 80-90%. But no, that's racist.
You're absolutely right. No, you're totally 100% correct. That would solve the problem right there. And thank God we have Judicial Watch, without whom, you know, a lot of the voting rolls in a lot of states wouldn't have been cleaned up. They're starting to clean them up. Judicial Watch is also responsible for having a lot of information released under the Freedom of Information Act, which exposed Obamagate very early on and a lot of things. Judicial Watch is great.
Right.
If
Absolutely.
I had a lot of money, I would donate to Judicial Watch. They're great.
Yeah, they have been very good since their inception, as far as I can see. I want to move on to our final topic, because as ever, we are time-bound. A Republican House candidate in Missouri has published a report claiming that the video of George Floyd's death, Winnie Hartstrong, a candidate running for the St. Louis congressional seat held by Lacey Clay, has highlighted the inconsistencies regarding Floyd's death for nearly a month on Twitter. In late May, a video featuring a Hartstrong claim that George Floyd is alive circulated on Twitter and received more than 100,000 views. Hartstrong went further last week with a 23-page dossier laying out the inconsistencies. Hartstrong insisted Floyd actually died years earlier, and the video that shows his death is actually a bogus deepfakes meant to stir up racial tensions. She said, Xander, you need to get a new auto cue that doesn't just stop for no reason. She also said we conclude that no one in the video is really one person, but rather they are all digital composites of two or more real people to form completely new digital persons using deepfake technology. She also writes that in the document, which she claims was created with help from citizen investigators, that a plastic torso was used to depict Floyd. Now, this is a lot of stuff that a lot of us have been saying anyway. Not that we're conspiracy theorists as such, but these are all things that we've been thinking about that situation. What do you make of this? Is it all just speculation, or do you think that some of it is true?
I think most of it is just silly. I know she wants to help our cause. I hope she does win her race. But I don't think she's really helping, because a lot of the things she says, like, for example, how come the police car numbers are different in different shots? Because there was more than one police car. I saw the video.
Right.
And I was confused, too, at the angle of where the body was, where Floyd was laying in relation to where he was arrested. Then he was arrested, and then he was led across the street, and then another cop car pulled up. And that would explain that. But, the thing with the deep fake, and, I'm pretty good with, I'm an artist, and, I have a trained eye, and I can tell that that's not CGI. And, but I'm not saying I'm not saying it wasn't a psyop. I think it was a psyop, just not in the way that she's explaining it.
Right. What about...
I think that the whole thing was either a total setup in some way or another, it was just an unfortunate incident, and the left just ran away with it and made hay with it.
What about the plastic? What about the plastic torso? I mean, I've seen several pictures of people with that George Floyd plastic torso. I mean, it's not something you can buy from Amazon, is it? Let's face it. Get your George Floyd plastic torso from Amazon today. $19.99 plus shipping.
Well, I don't know anything about a plastic torso. I was watching a video of her explaining why the whole thing was fake, and I think since she made that video, she added a few things onto her list of reasons why it was fake. I think that was a new one. I think she's just piling a lot of stuff on. To me, first of all, we don't really need to say that it was fake. All we have to say is, I thought the Democrats were all about not stereotyping, but for one bad asshole cop to lean on somebody until he dies, to make it about every single cop in the entire planet Earth.
Exactly.
It's preposterous, and it goes against everything they were supposed to be for. They're not supposed to be for stereotyping. And every time you say anything about crime in inner cities, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, you're painting with a broad brush." Oh, well, aren't you painting with a broad brush?
Yeah.
With this ridiculous psyop situation. That's what it is.
What are you, racist? You disagree? You're racist, man. If you disagree, that makes you a racist. The thing is that ultimately about all of this, for me, there were a lot of inconsistencies. And I'm glad you actually said asshole rather than racist asshole, because, the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't think that this cop was a racist. I just think he was a total asshole. And I think whatever color the perp had been, the outcome might have been similar. There have been other complaints about him, not all about his interactions with black people. So to me, it says that he was an asshole rather than just a racist asshole. But for them to continue to point to the ideology that there is systemic racism within the police force is folly. I mean, I know a lot of cops. My brother-in-law is a cop. And, I've spent a lot of time with cops. They don't sit there. They don't sit there in their off time saying N-word this and N-word that, and I hate black people. They have a bad feeling for all perpetrators, regardless of the color of their skin. And it's about the law being broken that is their concern, not the color of someone's skin. Because wouldn't that make the job a lot harder to have to disseminate even further from someone just being a criminal and breaking the law?
Yeah, Well, I refuse to play this game of I'm not a racist, he's not a racist, you're not a racist, he's not a... I'm not going to be accused unless you accuse me to my face. If somebody wants to call me a racist and wants, say that to my face on the street, and then I'll deal with you, okay? But I'm not going to sit there online for the rest of my life. My life is, life is short. I'm not going to sit there online and argue that I'm not a racist. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
I'm not going to buy into or fuel into your propaganda.
No, it's funny, because
they want you to do. They want you to talk about race.
They do.
24 hours a day.
They
24
do.
hours a day, and there's a lot better things to talk about than that. Now, I want to go back to the psyop thing. There are some psyops like that Charlottesville thing. Now that was totally fake. You had a guy driving down the street who couldn't, who the police directed him down that street. He wanted to go home the way he came in. They wouldn't let him leave the way he came in. They said, no, you have to go down there. You have to drive through that gauntlet, that mob who are swinging baseball bats around. You have to drive through that. Ha, ha, ha.
Wow.
And then he's driving in there, and he couldn't get through. They blocked the road. There was actually a car in front of him that was stopped, and there was a crowd of people swinging baseball bats and hitting his car. And he plowed forward to see if he could push the car out of the way, and he couldn't get forward. So he threw it in reverse, and he tried to get out that way, and he incidentally hit a few people who were attacking him, including that girl.
Right.
And it was a white girl, by the way. And there's no indication whatsoever that he was a racist or a transman or anything like that, or white supremacist. There was no indication whatsoever. And now that guy has to spend the rest of his life in jail because the mainstream media has effectively monopolized that entire story so that you can't even talk about it.
Exactly.
If you even talk about it, you're going to get fired.
Exactly.
You're going to get blacklisted.
Yeah. Don't be racist. You can't say blacklisted. That's a racist word. Be careful, dude. I'm obviously being facetious. Final question for you from the live feed. Dave wants to know if you think goats' lives matter in China.
Goats are very smart animals.
They are.
My son did a school report on goats, and I had to help him with it. And we were reading about they're smart, and they all have different personalities.
Yeah.
And so I would say, leave the goats alone. All right, you Muslims over there.
Absolutely. You can have their milk, but that's all you're having. You're not having their meat. We gotta leave it there, CV. Tell people where they can find you. They were daring me to get you to say goats' lives matter. Tell people where they can find you and check you out a little more. Obviously, you'll be here every Thursday, but tell people where they can find you.
All right, you can find. It's a radio show, and it's heard locally in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Long Island. But for people around the country and around the world, just go to freedomondeck.com. You can see our back shows there in video form. You can go to the news page and see what's happening in real time. And it's a great place to be. freedomondeck.com. Support your brothers in solidarity.
Yeah.
We support you. And we're all together in this fight.
Support your goat friends also. Because goat lives matter.
Yeah.
We will leave it there. But thank you so much. I will catch up with you again on Sunday because I'm on the show with you guys. So have a great week. Stay safe. And don't be throat punching anybody out there, my friend.
Well, I'll try to contain myself.
Good.
All right. Good night.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot,
Thank
CV.
you.
Take care. That was CV Burton from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check him out on freedomondeck.com. Their show is Sundays 3 to 5. News now and stimulating talk. I think that's what it's called. Thanks to everybody who's made today's show possible. Thanks to my good friend Mark Sutherland. Make sure you check him out at marksutherland.org. Thanks to Chet for calling in. Always our stalwart with regards to his commentary. Thanks to CV Burton. And thanks to everyone in the live feed. And yes, goat lives do matter. Not had your fill of the Gibster. You can catch me 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 1 a.m. in the UK, and 12 midday the next day down there in Australia. On Friday's show, Joe Messina from The Real Side and Chet Martin join us. I really do love you all. I have been Xander Gibb, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to click that share button. Anybody that doesn't click the share button will get a message from a Nigerian prince telling you you have won money. I love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show. Oh yes, sirree.